Minister, I think we all know that, and hopefully we'll get to see something within this rail strategy that's pointed to a better and more focused national and regional development, and that's right across the country, up the Midlands, up the North West. And I think, as I said earlier, we need to rebalance the distribution infrastructure in the state. And I already mentioned to you, Minister, and you made mention back to me of the importance of Dublin Port, but I'd point out to you Dublin Port has over 80% of all the containerised traffic coming into the country. A lot of that comes in and goes out from the west of Ireland. So, as I said to you, Railhead and Ballina servicing Waterford Port would be a big improvement. But beyond that, we need to look also at the commuter rail issue. And at present, if I get into my car, I can drive from Waterford to Dublin and Varnes in probably about an hour and 45 minutes. If I go by train, it's 2.5 hours before I even think of grabbing other public transport to get me there. So where are we going in terms of commuter rail within the strategy, do you know? Thank you.
Thanks very much. And just to Deputy Shannon, what I said earlier on is we absolutely support rebalancing and providing opportunities for our regional ports, and rail freight will be an important component of that. But if you look at the overall growth trajectory of our economy and the connection between port capacity and growth in our GDP, the likely trajectory will be that all our ports, including Dublin Port, will have a growth requirement based on the growth and potential trajectory of our overall economy. And I suppose it's important we look at the economic data and the projections on that. But we are ambitious to develop our regional ports, and the opportunities that will arise out of the All-Ireland Strategic Rail Review will be enormous and I think transformational if we can underpin the recommendations with investment over the coming years. Just to Deputy Farrell's point, I can't obviously set out the specifics around what the rail review will set out, just to say that it is about trying to improve sustainable connectivity between cities, including potential for higher speed, enhancing regional accessibility, and providing and supporting balanced regional development, and improving rail connectivity, including the role of rail freight. But the review itself will, when it's published for environmental assessment in July, will set out the detail around the various options related to specific lines across the country.
Minister, I hope when this strategy comes out that it is actually going to have a long-term focus within it, and it's something that will be the basis of planning for the next 25 or 30 years, not something that's looking at a 5 or a 10-year development, because rail infrastructure development is a long-term goal. And I think we need to be, and you've highlighted it yourself, looking at regional rebalancing and the interconnection of our cities. And within that, in terms of our own area in the southeast, I'd like to see the Waterford-Wexford line reopened, and I'd like to see improvements also for Waterford to Limerick Junction and beyond, because we don't have that connectivity, and we lost the rail line to Cork because we dug it up so many years ago, and that was short-sighted. And beyond that, Minister, I hope too that you will point to the energy that's going to power rail into the future. Where are we going? Are we going electric? Are we going with potentially hydrogen? That's where I'd like to see something within the strategy. But as I say, I hope when the strategy is published, it will be the basis for something to build on, and not just a report to be filed away for the next 5 years.
Thanks very much, and I appreciate everyone's input on this. Just to go back to Deputy Shannon, I agree. We need to, there's huge opportunities in terms of regional connectivity and providing that strategic growth and opportunities as part of the All-Ireland Rail Review. Deputy Farrell, as you know, we have an order of electric and battery electric carriages, which Minister Ryan has previously set out. I know he and across the government we're ambitious on electrifying our network where possible, but also making sure we make sure we can have that overall development, and appreciate your input on that. And Deputy O'Cosig, again, I think that, as you said, the review will provide a huge catalyst for, I think, for focus and growth for rail outside of Dublin, and getting more balanced regional development and allowing for much greater spread of population growth and in those population centres along the west, south and southeast. And Deputy O'Murco, I'll ask I'll ask Irish Rail and the NTA to come back to you related. I don't have the specific timelines in front of me here, but I'll ask them to revert to you directly.